Welcome back to Woburn Bowl for the first string of the Pro Series Playoffs semifinal match. In this segment, Jonathan McDonald will be taking on Jim Ayotte. You've seen both of these guys make their way through match play to arrive at the semifinals. Both really bowling well today, as they have all year. And getting it underway, Jonathan McDonald starts with an 8 drop. Bowling on lane 33 and 34. And a spare to begin for Jonathan. Excellent way to get it started. You can see Skip Easterbrooks on the couple of pairs away. He's bowling in the other semifinal match, the winner of which will obviously meet the winner of this match. There's Jonathan McDonald with a 6-bill on the spare, leaving the diamond, or the bucket if you prefer, on the left side. 2, 4, 5, and 8. Nice bid there by Jonathan, but not quite enough of the object pin to cover the 5 and 8. And there you see Jon Winchell over on lanes 37 and 38, bowling against Skip Easterbrooks. So that'll be 24 after 2 for Jonathan McDonald, and that brings up Jim Ayotte. Jim, as I'm sure you know, is the bowler of the year this year on the Pro Series, having amassed the highest total in the point standings during the 6 regular events this year on the Pro Series. Very, very consistent year, and that's actually nothing new for him, because he's really been a very, very consistent performer over the last several years. Last couple of years on the Pro Series and elsewhere. Really, it's never a surprise to see him up near the top of the standings. And that very compact delivery he has is probably part of that. It's very repeatable, not a lot of wasted motion at all. Jim begins with a 9. And he is on the head pin again, this time very light on the 1-3 side. He's got a 6 drop. You can see he's got 2, 4, 8, and 10. Piece of wood at an angle there to the right of the 2. That's probably, he's probably going to try and use that, see what he can do. And I think he just missed the shot. He was probably going to try to use that angled wood to try and take out the 2, 4, and 8 and see if the ball would go over and get the 10. But and that looks like it probably would have made it. He hit it very high on the wood. That might have been a better way to play it. Because when you're depending on the ball to bounce over and get the corner pin, it's kind of a sort of a you're taking your chances, because it's bouncing pretty high, and sometimes it makes it and sometimes it doesn't. Jonathan McDonald back on the left lane. Lane 33, leaving the Caleri right side. 1, 3, 6, 8, 10. And a nice bid, but that doesn't go. Everything all around that 8 pin. And here's another look at it. The head, very light hit. The head pin goes to the sidewall, comes in front of the 8. And meanwhile, I think that's the 6 pin gets knocked around and in front of the 8 pin, while the head pin goes behind it. Just every which way except hitting that 8 pin. So you can't really come any closer without doing it. Jonathan will take a 9. As I mentioned, this is a 2-string match. All the Pro Series playoffs matches are 2 strings. This is the first string. Jonathan on lane 34 at Woburn Bowl. Back on the head pin once again, but too full. He punched out the 1, 5, and 8. So he's going to have his work cut out for him to just work this out for a 9 or a 10 box. And Jonathan takes out the 4 and 8, so he's still got 5 left. 3, 6, 9, and 10 over on the right side, along with the 2 pin. And he does a nice job to work that out for a 9 box. Leaving the door open for Jim Ayotte by not marking in the 3rd and 4th. Jim misses the head pin, so he's got most of the rack left. And he goes through the middle, through the hole that he just punched out with the 2 and 8. So he's got a he really needs an out here to avoid, and he does a pretty good job there to get out of it with a 7. No major harm done. You just want to avoid that 2 or 3 box, which is enough pins lost that you really have to get an extra mark just to make up for it. And like Jonathan McDonald, Jim punches through the middle in the 4th box on lane 34. Same leave, except he does not have the 7 pin. Jim takes out the 2 and 4. So he's just got that right side remaining. And that'll be a 9 box. Jonathan McDonald with a nice, solid 1-2 pocket hit. Really not sure how that 10 pin didn't go, but he's got the 10 with, you can see that piece of wood way out front. It'll be interesting to see what he's able to do with that, which way he decides to play it. And he's got it. He went to the right side and had the ball take out the 10. Give you another look at that. He goes right on the end, and the ball goes airborne, and it's a little bit more than halfway up on the 10 pin, above the red line, so to speak. Playing it high, and he drops 6. Really difficult leave here. 1, 3, 7, 8, no wood. Probably try and kick the head pin off the wall. So he can. Now he goes the other way. Ball goes over and takes out the 7, but he's not able to get the 8 out of there. Really a difficult leave. But he will take a 10 in the 6th box. Jim Ayotte still kind of trying to get something going out of the box here in the semifinal match. And that'll That's a good start. He drops 9, 7 pin, no wood. Clear shot at it. Just needs to go get it. And he's got it. Spare in the 5th for Jim. He'll head over to lane 34. And he drops 6, 3, 6, 8, and 10. A couple pieces of wood. The dilemma here is how to push something back into the corner to get the 10 pin. And as it turned out, the 8 didn't go either. That was really more difficult than it might have looked. And that'll be an 8 in the 6th. As you see over on lane 37, Skip Easterbrooks dropping 9. Skip has been on the head pin all day. As you see the score here with Jonathan McDonald holding a 7-pin lead through 6, 68 to 61. Neither guy has really been able to get too much going up to this point compared to what they were doing in earlier matches. Jonathan McDonald drops 7, 3, 6, 10. That piece of wood should push straight back, and most likely he'll take them all, and he does. But what's been proven difficult so far is putting any kind of a flurry together. They've been able to get isolated marks here and there, but not any kind of consecutive, any sort of run of marks. And it's going to be tough to do here. Jonathan on the head pin, but a little bit full, and he has the 3, 4, 6, and 10 no wood to help. Have to cut the 3 over into the 4. No mystery to it, but it's a very difficult shot. And that's what he was trying to do. Just went a little wide. So he'll be trying to see if he can get a couple of these. And that's a 9. Good job to get 9 out of that. So again, a mark, but not too much to show for it, as Jonathan McDonald just had 25 in those 2. Jim Ayotte with plenty of time to make up the difference. 14 boxes to go. Drops 5. 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. Bucket plus 1. That's a difficult leave. It's certainly makeable, but so kind of surprising how seldom you make this one. It really needs to be. A lot of ways to get 4 of them, but it's only a couple of ways to get all 5. So Jim will take an 8 box in the 7th. So against that spare 6, he will drop 8 pins. So he trails Jonathan McDonald by 15 at this point through 7. And he's up against the 9 and the 8, so he's really only down 14. Jim drops 8. Gets that pin to come across and take out the 4-7, but he has the 1 and 9 with no wood, so that's another tough leave. Can't seem to get much to look at. To hit full or kick the head pin off the wall. And that's sort of in between. He got a lot of the head pin, but not enough to push it straight back into the 9. But it was too full to kick it off the wall. So that'll be a 9. So that means it is still a 15-pin lead for Jonathan McDonald with 2 boxes to go in the first string of this 2-string match. Jonathan McDonald missing the head pin, but he gets a nice break out of it. Instead of the Caleri or something like that, he's got just the 1, 3, and 6. And he's got it. He goes to the left side of the head pin, clears him out pretty easily. So let's see what he can do here. Can he put together a couple of marks in a row, as neither guy has been able to do that. Nice ball right there in the 1-3 pocket, very solid. Somehow the 5-pin was untouched, but that is a 9 fill. Single pin to work on. And he's all over that. So finally 2 consecutive spares, and he'll have a chance to load this one up and put a little pressure on Jim Ayotte to come up with something in the last 2 so that he's not too far behind going into the second and final string here in the semifinal round. That will be a 5 fill, and that is a 127 game, I think, for Jonathan McDonald. As soon as Jim Ayotte's done, we'll zoom in on the scoreboard. It's a little bit hard to see because when I edit these, I don't do it full screen. I'm looking at about 1/3 of the screen, so it's hard to see the scoreboard. Jim with a nice ball, just clipping the head pin, and he got that helicopter to come off the sidewall and wipe out the entire right side. 7-8, and a piece of wood well out front that he might be able to use if he can get sort of near the middle of it, push it back to take them both. A little bit too far out toward the end, though. I don't think he wanted to be anywhere near out there. So he didn't take out either the 7 or the 8, and still didn't do it. So that'll be an 8 box in the 9th. Jim will be facing that spare 5 in the 10th, so really would behoove him to try and put something on the board in the 10th to keep the lead of Jonathan McDonald in hand. 6 drop, 4 horsemen left. See if he can execute this. And he does. Nice shot by Jim Ayotte. Splitting the 1-2, and the 2 went into the 4-7 as he was a little bit sort of high in the 1-2 pocket. So he's got a fill ball here, and then we'll check the scoreboard. Just 2 on the spare, so not exactly what Jim was looking for, but it does close the gap slightly. And at the end of the first string of this 2-string match, Jonathan McDonald 127, Jim Ayotte 98.